The new frequency resonance of time is associated with the new consciousness because it's the building block of all consciousnesses. Okay, so this consciousness level, the one that we're leaving, and the one that's becoming available to us, should you choose it, is space and time. Okay, and when you have a new consciousness come in like this, the building block of time changes. The nature of time is different. So as a result, our experience is different. So I just want to talk about the new frequency resonance of time. So in the old, you talked about scarcity a lot because it's true. In the old resonance of time, there's never enough time. There's never enough. There's never enough. That's like runs through that consciousness level. Yep. In the new resonance of time, it's much more buoyant. It's much lighter. It's not as dense. So you can get a lot more done in the same amount of time. It feels more spacious and more easy. It's not like there's lack of work. I mean, you are going to work, but it doesn't feel as heavy because things like line up somehow magically and opportunities open.
Yes, things come to you without you having to work so hard to find the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's right. Mm-hmm. So it almost feels like this magical synchronicity. And yes, there's effort in following that, but yet it somehow just becomes this amazing, like, little adventure that you're on, you know?
Yeah, and there's almost a trust element, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, totally.
Because the more you see things lining up, the more it's like, okay, why am I going to worry or struggle? I'm going to keep trusting because it keeps working.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and you're also more in that surrender space, that surrender from strength space, which, like, that and trust are intertwined, so that you can be more open. So, you know, it's funny that you mentioned that, and I'm glad you did. It's just like, you know, trust, surrender, the new consciousness, they're all interwoven, right? So the more you surrender, the more you're in trust, the higher frequency resonance is, the more you can be in the new consciousness, which then obviously buoys all of that, right? So it's like this spiral of awesome.
Very nice, very nice. So what would you say would be some advice for someone who's kind of going between each lens right now?
Yeah. So when you go through into the new frequency resonance of time, in order to access it, you have to, like, purge out the density of old distortion patterns that exist at the old frequency resonance of time, because they can't exist at the same. It's like two ships passing in the night. Like if you're up here vibrating up here, you can't have these distortion patterns. They actually can't coexist. Yeah. They're different. So in order to access this higher level, you have to get rid of this stuff that keeps us down in this level of resonance to be able to access up here. Yes. So so I'm getting to your question, but for some people, they're really very, very tired right now. And it's physically exhausting because your physical body is purging out all of these distortion patterns, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot. It's like, to process out the frequency distortion patterns for some of you is like, it's really tiring. And so just know that. For others, they'll see a lot of their old distortion patterns, like especially around scarcity of time. Right. Or scarcity at all, because scarcity of time is so entrenched in us. So scarcity at all of, like, money, of love, of being seen, of being valued, all that scarcity stuff is going to trigger, okay, because it's all intertwined. So all that stuff might come up, or things around struggle, like you mentioned before, right? Like struggle, or suffering, or spirit debt, which is another thing that you and I have talked about in other episodes as well. So that will rear its head. Because why? Because it's kind of like you're a lemon being squished, right? So you have, like, if you know those lemon juicer things, right, with the tray and the little thingy. So you put a lemon on it and you squish out all the juice. That's kind of like what's happening. But you're wringing out your distortion patterns so that you can be in the higher resonance of time. So that's I'm getting to your question, which is, how do I deal with pinging between the two? Yeah. So just to your point, you are going to ping between the two. Yeah. Like, most people aren't just, like, in the new resonance of time and, like, they're in their full glory, like, all the time, at least not that I'm aware of, right? We usually go up and down. So if that is happening, know that you are probably purging out some old stuff that you have to in order to get to the higher resonance. To give yourself sleep, okay? Because a lot of us will process a lot of our distortions through sleep. To acknowledge that probably you're cranky right now. Okay, so sometimes you don't have to be cranky at anything particular. Sometimes you just feel cranky, and it's sometimes because you're being squeezed, meaning all your distortion patterns are coming out, and you don't need to know what they all are. You know what I mean? You don't need to, like, name all what they all are. You're just like, "Gah!" It just feels nasty. So know that that's happening, to be aware of that, to tell other people around you that is happening. Because you are. Exactly. Warning, I am cranky. I apologize in advance, right? I actually said that to Chris about a week or a half ago. I was like, oh God, I'm just so cranky and I'm sorry in advance. I will try to mend that.
Yeah, that's good. Communicating is good.
Yeah, exactly. That self-care is so important. Yeah. So for me, I will schedule more acupuncture. I'll schedule more chiropractic. I will schedule whatever it is that helps me. And then the other thing is to do the work more, actually. To do more frequency work, because that's the only thing that's going to move you up. So that type of thing.
Probably the confirm the removal is great. I've shared that with a bunch of people where they're like, I'm really in it right now. I'm like, do this. And then they're like, purchased, done. Wow, I'm really hungry. I'm going to go eat now.
Exactly.
So it's like an immediate shift. So when you're in it, I know for me, I just had an experience where I was really in it and I just went for a walk and I literally just yelled, help me, like higher self, or just help me. I need to get through this. So that's that idea of I'm still connected to my biggest self, even though I feel so heavy and in it. You know, and I came back from my walk and I had messages on my phone from people sending loving, really, really loving, like special things to me, reminding me of my brilliance, you know, in their own words. So that's a good reminder. Even through the struggle, you're still connected. Keep trusting. Take it easy. Self-care. Like
yes, exactly.